So there's a huge parallel here between getting enough of these things sold out there into the public domain, people's cars, so that they can't, just like with the oxygen therapies, they keep saying, oh, that can't work, that can't work. Of course, that's the drug companies saying, well, 85% of the American public is on drugs, and you can't hurt our market. All right, so it goes to federal prison for 2 years. Or that trip, give that up for the plan. Okay, so you've got the same parallel here. You've got a powerful entrenched bureaucracy who wants things just the way they are. The politicians just work for the corporations to protect the profit flow. The profit flow is the mass movement of money. And look at all the cars going by on the highway, multiply that all over the country, all over the world. And that system of that flow of energy, petrodollars, feeding terrorism, all that going through, the politicians are paid to not let that be bothered too much. However, competition is allowed. So that's why Bob said to you yesterday that they'll never let me put out a 100% run-on-water car in the foreseeable future, because it would be too disastrous and too conflicted with the flow of goods and services in our present economy, and the government protects that. And then, of course, there's private goon squads from the corporations, they protect that. So what we want to do is not have a policy of exclusiveness or screw them and all that, although that is what's driving your buying. I mean, the people hate the gas companies, they hate the system, they hate the taxes, they hate everything about it, they hate the pollution. I'm showing everybody how pollution would happen, showing everybody how pollution is a direct link to the incidence of the disease. So you've got a much better shot at doing what you're doing than I did 20 years ago, starting with nothing, trying to tell people that oxygen and ozone therapy is completely sterilize your body, you won't have a disease anymore. Because then you get into making a claim. The doctors couldn't say anything. The doctors couldn't say, oh yeah, I've got 120 guys cured of AIDS. Well, interestingly enough, same name, Boyce, Dr. Boyce spent 5 years in federal prison for saying that, even though it was true. And I went down to Bay St. Louis, Missouri, or Mississippi, which is it on the coast, Baton Rouge, Louisiana next to Mississippi. And met these people, and sure enough, they're perfectly healthy. They were all mostly gay people from the furniture and restaurant industry in New Orleans who snuck over to his clinic in Bay St. Louis. But because he said, and told me it was okay, I could say, that this happened, people found out this happened and then went after him. He was even offered, if you come out against ozone therapy, then, this will all just go away. So it turns out, he said, no, I can't go against truth, and so he went to prison. He's now in a nursing home up in Chicago.
Bob Boyce's brother?
No, there's no relation. No relation with that. Sorry about that. That's James Boyce. And so this is all tied together. You have the same evil empire that you're all facing. You have the same solution, which is you could use oxygen in another form to clean it all up, which is what we're looking at here. We were trying to do some experiments with putting ozone into cars along with HHO, and there's something in the reaction that it was a wash kind of thing. I doubled my mileage on my Jeep putting ozone into it. But then another two guys got a couple experimental units from me with the ozone plates, put that in their cars with the HHO, and it didn't do much. Now I'm thinking, okay, because they weren't scientists or anything, and I'm saying, all right, the computer somehow has figured it out. Because Bob was telling me yesterday, the computer has a range, each car is different, each truck is different. The computer has a range where, as long as you stay in the range, it's not going to shut you down. But if you get above or below the range, the computer kicks in and says, no, we're going back to stock. And so some of the units produce just a small enough amount so that they're not in trouble. Other units produce the same amount, but go in a car with a narrower range, boom, it doesn't work. So that's why it works, it doesn't work. It works in my car, it didn't work in my car. So the whole thing is to optimize it. Bob's whole focus is to create the most energy from the smallest amount, least amp draw, and the smallest size unit you possibly can. So that's where he's going. So everything we can do to go in that direction helps with the acceptance. Now the beauty of what you're doing, this sacred warrior of light mission you don't even know about, is that you're cleaning up the environment. If you're cleaning up the environment, you're going to stop all the disease. You're also going to stop funding the petrodollars, funding the terrorism, and all that going on. So that's a wonderful thing you're doing, and I just wanted to thank everybody and tell you what you're really doing is huge, just huge. And the fact that like last year somebody would come and have us set up on a piece of plywood. This year it's in a computer box. Okay, great, that's what we need. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up, so the public doesn't go, yeah, okay. They don't walk away. They go, oh, that looks like what I get in Best Buy. Let me see that in the garage. Okay, yeah, I can get that. What do you have to do? You put in water. Okay, what else do you have to do? That's it. Oh, well, that's really simple. Yeah, I can drive that. My wife can drive that. I'm not afraid of that. Don't you have a bomb under the hood? That's what I've heard that one already. I laughed. A bomb under the hood. No, because there's no storage. It's flowed, and immediately pressure shut off, temperature shut off, all these fail-safes you can build into the things. So the technology is here right now, and of course, as you know, double the gas mileage at least, and that'll make a dent. Now, what you've got against you right now is the negative publicity generated by all the imaginings of non-scientists, wonderful guys, hearts in the right place, but claims they made on YouTube that is circulated all over the globe now. Bob specifically turned down an interview by, as he said in his lecture yesterday, an interview by MSNBC because he doesn't want to be one side of a polarity where they can now come after whatever he says and discredit it. So if he says nothing, you can get more installed faster than they can report it negatively not working. See how the politics of that works? So it's going very well. I see that, and I see it all going very, very well. I am probably, and practically, I'm sure I'm still going to write some kind of book or pamphlet or something on this whole thing. And it'll be universal, not specific to any one company. It'll endorse the whole thing for the good of everybody, for the good of the planet, the environment, the incidence of the disease, cost savings, everything you can think of. You can all use that as a sales tool because it'll only illustrate things. It's not going to favor anyone. That's what I do with the oxygen. I show it all in my book. Again, I have to make a living. Flood your body with oxygen. It endorses all therapies. It's not against anything unless it's not safe. You know, because it's whatever level you want to commit at. So if you want to commit, you want to go to one of the booths and you buy some little thing, or if you've got a fleet of trucks, you're FedEx, UPS, whatever, over the road all day long, small fleet, 3, 10, 20 trucks, you get a unit that you can afford, and then as you see that it works and you start believing it, then you find that you're saving so much in gas, you can get a better quality unit, then you get your Cadillac of the units, so to speak, everything that's UL approved, aircraft quality specs, all that, the stuff the PCT guys are doing. So I encourage you all to head in that direction. Do as much as you can, keep on doing what you're doing, and don't be discouraged. Anything negative or anything not positive that you are running into as a resistance block is normal and natural for the fact that the way things are has a huge strength, a kinetic energy, a potential energy. It's just sitting there. And if you bump against it, it's okay. But if you push it too fast, too hard, it's going to push back. And that's what it is. You don't want to get the pushback. So what you're doing is you're, like Bob is, you just nudge it. You keep, every year you add another mile per gallon. Every year you get a couple more liters, that kind of a thing. So I just wanted to give everybody an overview of all that. I'm calling my endeavor Clear Energy International.